Good morning, it's Tess, and this is Stay Curious with Tess, Day 6. For those who are new to catching up with me, I have been going live for probably 5 years now. It all started in the days of me getting ready to publish this book, Courage to Change. And I have a YouTube channel now with probably about 500 to 600 videos that kind of led up to this book, Courage to Change. Now, since that time, I've left the W-2 world and I'm working with infinite banking and helping people set up their financial future. So what I have started doing, and it's been a week now, that I'm doing talks on terms in the finance world. So the first day I talked about how one word can change the understanding of anything, and I've talked about investment, guarantee, risk, liquidity. And today I want to talk about cash flow. So what I wanted to say is, what is cash flow? And it's a curiosity because for many of us, we get a paycheck and that'll tell you what you've earned, but cash flow tells you what you can do. So a paycheck is the starting point, but what you do with that comes from the cash flow. So welcome to Stay Curious with Tess, where we define, understand, so that we can make better decisions, because better definitions lead to better financial decisions. So what is cash flow? Cash flow is simply money coming in and money coming out. That's it, simple definition. But by understanding cash flow, you can completely change the way you look at money. If more money comes in than goes out, then you're in a positive situation. That's when you have assets, or basically they call it equity. You have an amount of money that's not spoken for that'll provide opportunities for you in the future. But if you have more money going out than coming in, then you have a negative cash flow, and ultimately that can create a situation where you owe people money and that you're not in the best situation, that if an opportunity comes up, you may not be able to act upon it because there is nothing that you have available to act upon it. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today and think about it from everyday life. Money comes in from different sources. It comes in from paychecks. It comes in from business income. It comes in from retirement income. It may come in from loans, other sources. There's lots of different areas where money can be coming in. And they often say that the more sources of income you have, the better off you are. And I'm going to say that's true, but it's coming up with the ways that you want to have those multiple sources of income that's kind of important. The other part is money goes out. We have incoming money, but it has to pay for things in life, whether it's housing, it's food, it's transportation, insurance, taxes, lifestyle choices, your entertainment, your travel, education, anything like that are expenses going out. So that movement of money coming in and money going out, that is cash flow. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today because two people can earn the exact same income and have totally different financial experiences. You can have two people living side by side in the exact same type of house, but it's not going to be the same financial picture because their cash income and their cash outflow are totally different. So their picture is going to look different. So cash flow helps you to understand what's available after the money moves through your life. And this was kind of a lesson that had to come to me in a different way when I left the W-2 world recently. For many, many years, and I often talk about that, I spent 35 years in the insurance industry preparing the statutory financial statements that are filed with the state regulatory boards. And so I was guaranteed a paycheck, whether it was bi-monthly or every 2 weeks. I don't think I ever had a weekly paycheck, but I was always paid usually bi-weekly or twice a month. So I always knew exactly how much money was going to come in unless I happened to work overtime and get paid for it. But I was pretty much salary, so that didn't often happen. But I had a predicted amount of money that was coming in, and so I knew how to plan like the outflow of money. But when I left the W-2 world, things kind of changed a little bit. I didn't have a predictable paycheck. It was unpredictable. That transition created unpredictability, and it made you understand that cash flow had to change. Like, I have certain things I like to do. If I can possibly do it, I like to take some insurance policies, and if I can, pay them 6 months or a year ahead of time. I don't want the renewals to keep coming up, because inevitably every time the renewal comes up on some of your property and casualty, meaning your auto insurance, your homeowners, the cost of the insurance goes up. So I like to lock it in and not worry about it for a period of time, because you can shop that stuff, but it takes some time. But some of those things I had to take a look at. Did it match the cash flow that I had when I left the W-2 world? So the lesson wasn't just about earning money. It was understanding the timing and the flow of money. And that's why this conversation matters, because if we're in the W-2 world, there's a more predictability. If you're outside and you're just building a business, there may be less predictability. So you may be looking at some of your expenses that you paid in a certain method before, and you may disperse them. There may be things in your life that you were once used to having on a regular basis that you can't have anymore. So there are different, if you want to keep the cash flow positive, meaning that you have money left after you've paid all your bills. And I just thought that that was an interesting thing to think about, because although I had a lot of uncertainty about what if I lost a job, and generally that didn't happen in the industry. Insurance industry is a very stable environment. I usually just moved from job to job because somebody from a previous job knew of me and another insurance company would bring me along to the next company. But when you go totally out on your own and you're dependent on creating this income, there is some uncertainty, because even though in the W-2 world, the uncertainty was if you lost your job, in the entrepreneurial world, that is an issue more on the forefront every single day, because it's not like, what am I going to do if 6 months from now, or we're hearing rumblings that the company might do layoffs. It's that every single day you're almost like that, especially in the beginning. So I wanted to kind of talk about looking at different financial tools and how they relate to cash flow. We know a pension is designed to provide income according to the rules of the pension plan, and that's generally when you leave a job or when you leave certain services like military services. And a pension is not as commonly available. I know I was talking to my dad recently, and he's like, "You don't have a pension?" And he just, because living in the area of the auto industry, most of the auto workers have pensions, but the people like me that were in offices, pensions were non-existent. So a pension is available to some, but it's not available to others. Now, there are things that can help people that don't have pensions, and that's some of what I've been involved in lately. There are annuities. An income annuity is designed to create a stream of income according to the contract when you purchase the annuity, and that can be a way to give you additional income on top of Social Security and retirement if you weren't one of those people that got one of those pensions that are at least in my experience, they're very difficult to hold on to now. Now, you have certain people that do still get them, I believe, like your city officials, your police officials, military, and auto. I think the auto industry still gives them, but a lot of us now don't have that. So there will be other tools that we can look at, meaning annuities, and I'm digressing, so we'll save that talk for another day. But a pension can be a form of cash flow. An income annuity can be a form of cash flow, and it's according to the contract. A fixed annuity can be used for accumulation, and then depending on the contract and riders and choices made, it can later provide an income. And a whole life insurance has a primary purpose of life insurance protection, but a properly designed policy like our team prepares can provide you with some cash flow that may provide access through loans according to the contract. So the policies that we write do have a cash value, because we do what they call HECV, high early cash value, which means that it is kind of a tool that you can take loans against to help with cash flow as you're moving forward. But I want to kind of mention these tools are not identical, and they were designed for different purposes. So the question is not what is best. The better question is, what do I need this money to do? So I think it kind of even goes back to talking about like making plans. When you're younger in your life, your plans are going to be a little different. If I had known what I know now, and we always, it's great to have hindsight, but none of us have it. Would I have done things differently around retirement? I absolutely would have. And I would make sure that my plan was kind of more balanced. When we talk about investment portfolios, we talk about balancing investment portfolios, meaning you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket, because if that egg collapses, you have nothing else left. I kind of think the same thing with retirement. You need to have multiple baskets, meaning, okay, you may have Social Security, you may have the 401k from your employer, but do you have an annuity, a pension annuity? Do you have a pension? Do you want to create an annuity that will be an income producing annuity? It will pay you a check as you go into retirement. What tools do you have available to protect yourself in retirement? Because they do have, as cash flow talks about different purposes, like a whole life policy will provide a death benefit if you pass away too young, and an annuity will provide a lifetime income if you live too long. So I think that balancing cash flow, balancing investment portfolios, balancing retirement portfolios, those are all important tools. So I think it's always important to ask the question, what is the purpose? It's not which is best, it's what is the purpose? Is this going to fit the purpose that you have for long term? Because every dollar does have a purpose. Some money may need to be available today. Some money may need to be available for emergencies. Some may be intended for retirement. And some may be intended to protect your family if you are called home too soon. But understanding those purposes helps you make better decisions on how you're going to manage that money and how you're going to manage the cash flow of it at the time that money is needed. So the next time you look at your finances, don't ask how much money I make. Don't only ask how much money I make, but ask how that money flows through your life. Because understanding the cash flow is understanding how money works in your own world. Because let's sit with this for a moment. Financial decisions are not only about what we earn, they're about how we manage the movement of money through our lives. Income is what you earn. Cash flow is what you can use. Understanding the difference can change the way you make financial decisions. The question isn't only how much do I make? The question is, does my cash flow support the life I want to create? Before we can decide where our money should go, we have to understand how money flows through our lives. So a great thought to ponder. A paycheck tells you what you earned, and cash flow tells you what you can do. So remember, define, understand, and make better financial decisions. And until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and take ownership of your financial education. And see you tomorrow.